and I'm glad to call Port Orange my home. I have a passion about Port Orange that is like none other. I only want to do what's best and what's fair for everybody within our city, and I want to provide my leadership to help move Port Orange forward to the next 20 years. I don't want to look back on what we've done. I can't answer to what the previous councils and administration have done. All I know is I can provide my leadership moving forward, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ted Noftel and I'm running for mayor of Port Orange. Like my two opponents, I've lived here a long time, 26 years. My children grew up here, graduated from high school here. 2 of them still live here. My businesses are located here. I want to see Port Orange and its residents prosper and be happy. But that's where all similarity between me and my opponents end. I do not support the current good old boy system in Port Orange with its secrecy and its high taxation. My opponents, on the other hand, are fully invested in that system. And come election day, residents are going to have a real easy decision. If they believe it's okay for Mayor Green to withhold information from his council, if they believe it's okay to have Manager Johansson close down the decade-old practice of posting manager emails online, if they're okay with a finance department that, according to our auditors, do not even balance our checkbook, the city checkbook monthly, if they're okay with 400 different error-prone rates for a gallon of water in this city, and then back charge residents for city errors, if they're okay with all of those things and more, then they should vote for either one of my opponents, because they believe in those things also. But if you do not, then I would ask you to support me. I am a positive reform candidate. I intend to make Port Orange government open if I am elected. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Don Burnett, and I guess I can tell you basically the same story. I've been a lifelong resident of the area as well. When I graduated Spruce Creek in 1985, me and a number of my friends all left and went to college. Not very many of my friends came back. You know, I did. My wife and I made a conscious decision to have a home and raise our family here in Port Orange because we thought it was the ideal place. And here I am. You know, I'm speaking a little bit from the heart. And my son back there, raise your hand, Matthew, who's about to graduate Atlantic High School next weekend. I got to believe it's been a great journey, and Port Orange has had a lot to do with that. What I would like to do is be able to see something happen a little bit differently from when I went off to college. Not many of my friends came back. I want to make sure that this is a city and a community of opportunity, that they can see reason to come back, raise their families, know that there is opportunity, and I don't care whether you're 8 or 80, whether it be recreation, employment, whatever that might mean, whatever that might look like. What I'm looking forward is, what's the future going to look like for us? Even the things that are going well, you've got to have a vision for what the future is going to look like. And I think tonight we're going to spell out, each of us individually, what our vision is for the leadership and the look of Port Orange for 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And I look forward to your questions. Having been through this a few times, never know what kind of questions are going to pop up, but that's really how we learn, and you learn about the hearts of Port Orange by what's on the minds of the people. So I look forward to your questions tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. Thank you.
Alright. We'll go with the same numbering system as we started with, so we, first question, what is the future of reuse water?
I know that we just opened up a storage facilities out off of Tomoka Farms Road. The future for the reuse, in my opinion, would be less water being dumped into the river. Whatever we need to do to create a system where we're no longer dumping our reuse water into the river.
We have over $50 million tied up in the reclaimed, augmented water system here in Port Orange. To my knowledge, it benefits roughly about 1/3 of the residents of the city. It is hugely unfair. Now, I agree that keeping the water out of the river is likely a noble gesture. But my solution for this reuse water would have been to spray it on the city's forests, the 6,000 or 8,000 acres of forest that Port Orange acquired. That would allow the timber to grow quicker, be harvested earlier, and actually provide a return to the city. Now, we're stuck with this system. We have lines in place. But I would point out it is grossly unfair. All residents support this system. All residents do not benefit from this system.
I live in a part of the city where reclaimed water is not available to me, and I'm going to say that I benefit from it, even though it's not available to me. Every ounce of water that does not go in that river is a benefit to everybody in this room. There is a cost to that from an ecological standpoint to dumping the water in that river. Every ounce of water that comes out of the reclaimed plant in Daytona Beach goes in that river, and the state allows them to do that. Yet if we have bad weather and we have to, and we're overwhelmed in the system and we have to dump some of our water into the system, if it becomes too large amount, Port Orange could be subject to fines and implications further. And really what it was is because we've invested in that system. Were there things that we might have done differently? Hindsight being a wonderful teacher? Yeah, there probably is. There's some things in places we might have developed it better. The thing is the system exists now. It does protect the environment. We do benefit that way. We have ratepayers that pay for the use of reclaimed water. So we're able to take water that we're dumping into the Halifax and have ratepayers use that on their lawns, use it to beautify certain parts of the city. When we go up and down Dunlawton, that water is reclaimed water that's used. We all enjoy being able to see a beautiful city. There are a lot of benefits that we get from that, whether we're ratepayers in that system or not. Is it something that could be available to the entire city? No, it never will be. And anybody tells you otherwise is selling you up the river. It would be too expensive to retrofit parts of the city that were already developed before it. And you have a 4-to-1 ratio on average of water that goes in and water that comes out. So you never have enough to satisfy the system. You have dry periods, you have wet periods, so you have periods of usage that are extreme and tax the system, and you have periods where we have more than we need. And we have storage facilities out at the reclaimed lakes now, hopefully where we can utilize that a little bit better and be able to take in more money so the water will be available to those ratepayers. But we all benefit from that. And I really wish Daytona Beach and some of the things that they're talking about, whether it be the water pact or some of the things that they're doing, really do something different and bring that water out of the Halifax. We don't need fresh, brackish water being dumped into a saltwater system. There are things that we can do better with that as well, with our runoff. Those are the things that we need to do with investment here on Ridgewood Avenue and in our system as we bring the avenue back up to where it should be. But me and the way I feel about reclaimed water and the system we have here, perfect? No. But do the benefits outweigh the disadvantages? By far and away, absolutely.
This question was for someone who could not attend tonight, and he wanted to know which, who you support for the President of the United States.
I drew number one. I am a Republican. I've been a Republican 33 and a half years. Again, that doesn't have any bearing into our city race, but I'm holding firm with my Republican candidate.
That's an easy question. Donald Trump.
I know which way I'm leaning, but I also know we've got 6 months before that election. And we're going to be seeing a lot of fact, a lot of fiction on the news, and maybe even some science fiction between now and then. So I'm going to allow the media to do their thing, and meanwhile, 6 months, I'll make my decision.
Okay. Let's hold our applause till the end, please. Let's move forward on this. Would you say that the U.S. Constitution is a living, breathing document, or would you say that it is a bedrock document in its application to local politics?
I'm going to go with A, a living, breathing document.
You want me to read that question?
The Constitution is absolutely not a living, breathing document. It is a governing document for our government. It has an amending formula to it. Anytime people want to change that document, they can do it. It's been changed 27 times with amendments. The notion that the Constitution can mean one thing today, another thing the next day, or depending on how a judge feels when he gets up in the morning and has to vote in a 9-panel judge or whatever panel it is. It is not a living, breathing document. It is our governing document, and until it is amended, it means exactly what it says. And it says it, by the way, in a manner that all of us can read it and all of us can understand it ourselves. Unlike most other statutes that are written in legalese, the Constitution is not. Thank you.
This may or may not be popular, but I believe that it is a living and breathing document, and I'm going to tell you why. Our founding fathers, if the document existed in the same form today as it did when we were found, half the people in this room would not be able to vote. Not a woman in this room would be allowed to go to the polls. And it was well over 100 years before that was allowed. African Americans, slavery was okay under the original Constitution. They're counted as 3/5 of a person. We've added amendments to it, and we've even taken one away. So I think that there is an evolutionary process in which amending the Constitution is a part of it. But the Constitution itself lives and breathes in each and every one of us in the rule of law. And that's why we embrace it.
Thank you. I'm going to have to call in Guido now. I'll quit. What organizations do you belong to, such as Rotary, Lions Club, NRA, ACLU, etc.?
I am just a member of the Port Orange Planning Commission.
The only, I guess, civic organization that I'm a member of that I can think of right now is the NRA. Oh, and thank you for the prompt. And various various Republican clubs throughout the county. The Port Orange one, and the executive committee for sure.
Of the Republican Party?
Yeah, of the Republican Party, and again, my aide is helping me here greatly, and the American Federated Women's Council.
Mr. Lamb?
Currently, I'm trying to think here, starting at Atlantic High School, I'm on the PTA at Atlantic High School where I serve as vice president. I serve on the advisory board of the Law and Government Academy at Atlantic High School. I serve on the School Advisory Council at Atlantic High School. I did serve on the District Advisory Council for the Volusia County Schools, but I had to give something up. I have been, since 2003, the treasurer of the local Salvation Army Advisory Board, the local corps. I've been active and involved in other youth organizations, just finished up coaching youth baseball in the city of Port Orange. And I'm sure that I'm probably going to miss a couple, and if I do, hopefully they're not watching and they forgive me for that.
Okay, thank you.
Knights of Columbus, sorry. Anybody's a knight in the room, I'm sorry. Knights of Columbus.
All right. Do you or have you served on the board of any business, such as a bank or a charitable organization?
I have not.
Negative.
I'm on the executive committee and the board of the Salvation Army's local court here in Daytona Beach, East Volusia, and Blackwood.
Okay. The US 1 corridor has deteriorated. What ideas do you have to encourage business and improve the appearance of this road? And specifically, our board has talked about this, our members talked about this, car lots. You can't how many car lots there are from about 2 miles up the road from Dunlawton to the bridge. There's a lot. I can't remember how many I counted the last time, but there is a bunch of used car lots. So, appearance and encouraging businesses.
I think the US 1 corridor is very important to be revitalized. This used to be the core of Port Orange. I mean, and to see the Counts Western Wear take down the Indian out front broke my heart. I still like to see it put back there even though there's nothing there. We need to, as a city, we need to encourage these businesses to come down here and, again, not any more car lots as far as the zoning issue. We need to curtail the zoning so we're not putting so many car lots one after another after another. But encouraging businesses the best possible way we can with incentives through our city is very important, and the revitalization of the Riverwalk project and getting that off the ground and making that area viable again is very important. But I think that all of the US 1 corridor is very important, and we need to do everything we can to encourage and bring businesses back to our area.
Port Orange Council, in its wisdom, has spent millions on beautifying Dunlawton. Now, you will drive up there today and you say you don't see millions. Well, you don't, because it's tore back out. We plant it, we don't maintain it, and then we tear it back out when it fails. But we are spending buku dollars on Dunlawton. We're not spending anything down here in this neck of the woods. Now, you talk about beautification of these businesses. That is a sticky wicket in that the business owners do have property rights. We can't come in and start mandating to those people after the fact. But the city itself can certainly spend its money more equitably than it is. It's Dunlawton, 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 Dunlawton. I would advocate spending money down in this area to help with beautification in the right-of-way and on those businesses that would agree. Now, the formulas, the rebating, all of that would need to be worked out. But in concept, would I support spending money down here? Absolutely, only because I dislike inequity. And that's exactly what we have going on in Dunlawton. Now, you ask about attracting businesses to this area. I believe we should actively court the type businesses that will not add to our problems down here. And the one that comes to mind is ALFs, assisted living facilities. They're clean, they're quiet, they don't cause problems, they don't bring crime. They would be a wonderful asset in terms of redeveloping this corridor down here. Now, the city is not actively courting ALFs in this area. We get 2 or 3 times a year, ALFs will come to the city and they'll ask for city support, largely so they can tie in to federal funding. The feds want to see evidence of local support. But rather than entertain those applications on Herbert Street, which must be one of the most congested roads in the city, or on their buddies' land throughout the city, I would encourage it to be done down here on US 1. Thank you.
I need you to repeat the question.
US 1 corridor has deteriorated. What ideas do you have? for
Investment in
encouraging
US 1.
business? Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure that it's been a while since I heard the question. Well, you look out here right now and you do see a lot of car lots. I think I've done my share in trying to reduce a couple of cars from a couple of those car lots, but unfortunately that usually comes with a car payment too. What you've seen here, when in 1999, Allendale and Harbor Oaks, when it was incorporated into the city, one of the mistakes that we made is that we took in the existing code as it existed in the county. We do not do code enforcement in this part of the city the same way we do the rest of it because of the way it was grandfathered in at the time. It might have helped convince a lot of people that, yeah, let's come into the city. We don't want to lose our small town charm as we come into the city of Port Orange. And it was a great selling point at the time, but that's a time that I think has come and passed. I think we need to sunset most of the old codes, the way we do code enforcement in this part of the city, because there's things that go on down here we'd never let go on in other parts of the city. And I think that's a shame. Some of that is just the application when a code enforcement drives through an older part of the city and they become blind to that. Some of that is application of making sure that we rotate our code officers till we get fresh sets of eyes coming through. You know, because I know we have good code officers and they'll do what they're told to do and they'll react to what they see. So there's things that we can do from a management standpoint. As far as investing in US 1, we've done a fair amount of that. We put conduit when the road was redone in certain spots so that at some point when we execute the Ridgewood Corridor plan, that we can do some landscape improvements and the like. Some of this is, let's be honest, it's easy to sit here and say I want to invest in Ridgewood Avenue. It's not easy to do if you're an artist and you're starting with a blank slate, which we've done on the west part of the town the last 20 years. It's a lot easier when the canvas is blank than when it's filled up and there are a lot of properties that don't necessarily conform to the way you do things now. Size of properties with drainage and the like. There are things that we have to do down here. The city has been slowly acquiring some of the troubled hotels on the stretch and taking them down. We've made that investment. Some of those will become either parks or drainage or off-site so that we don't have a large investor come in and say, I can't build here because the lot's too small. We can do off-site drainage so that they can properly invest in this part of the city. So we've done some things. It's a slow process, and when the wheel gets spinning, any wheel that gets spinning always starts slow as you build momentum. That's what we're trying to do right now.